Good afternoon, everyone. All right, today's the day after FOMC. I pretty much was hoping that price action would get a lot better today, and thankfully it did. Price action was fantastic this morning, at least as far as option goes. And yeah, I'm going to review what we did. So here's what the chart looked like. We had a decent amount of pivots below on NQ as well. These are just the big ones. I think the only ones that I actually had marked out were these. Here's my pre-market analysis, this is what I said it was. I said good morning to bearish this morning for my nearest possible pivot to the downside. That is this pivot right here on NQ and this one on ES. And I said, and I believe it's likely ES even breaks this demand cluster, which is this, and gets to roughly 68.76. It's a nice double pivot here that's pretty likely to happen. Beyond that, we have a massive gap to begin filling on ES. And I said, keep in mind, futures gaps on the daily charts are rare, and they fill the vast majority of the time. So I believe this gap not only can begin filling today, but it's likely it fully fills within a week. Impossible to know when, but when price action is in the vicinity, the odds of it happening get very high. This is what I'll be watching as long as we remain near / in the gap, and that's my gray box on the ES chart. And if you need to look at the daily chart, it is right here. So, market opened. I filled QQQ puts. Now, fortunately, I couldn't be super heavy size because I don't do that on the first candle market open, but I was confirmed in because this was bearish consolidation on NQ that started breaking to the downside. This is what I was looking for. And we just started shooting down. I didn't sell anything. I didn't sell anything till I believe it was the next pivot on NQ. It was this demand. I didn't start taking any profits till this demand here on NQ. And then it got to a low of sweeping this pivot. That's not marked properly. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Swept this pivot by a single take. It's not a perfect double bottom. And sold the last when it finally started bouncing. Got 100% gains on this trade. I think I averaged like 75 or 80% on it. Did very well. Now, ES, we were still in a very strong downtrend. ES bounced out of a very weak demand. It's a 45-minute demand, the second weakest demand there is. Given the strength of the downtrend, I have doubts that that bounce is actually going to hold because that's a pretty weak demand. And ES also barely missed this pivot, and this pivot's actually a fairly big deal. It's a pretty big pivot. It's all we have before we have the gap. So I'm actually bearish for this demand to break and for us to get at least to the gap today. I told you guys that's what I'm bearish for. I took kind of a gamble. I took a pretty small SPX trade here. Very light size. Actually filled it the previous candle. Still had a tiny bit of key puts left, just my runner. Tiny size, thinking it's going to break. I filled it. This candle flipped red. Super bearish, looked great. But then it popped up. I took my average down here, actually near the top of this selling wick. After I averaged down, this trade was a little bit, I think I was like 2/3 of a normal position, like pretty small. Maybe a little less than 2/3. I remember it was a little bit bigger than a half size trade. But I had this pretty hard stop loss here. And right here, I told you guys in voice this morning that ES looks like it's actually winding for a short squeeze. And it was right here and right at the beginning of the next candle that I stopped out for minus 22%. So And it was by this candle that I said, oh my gosh, uh, it looks like we're going to go all the way back up. I have this pivot here on ES. ES is obviously going to get there before NQ. But I'm kind of bullish for both of them to get all the way back up. That bounce should have not happened, and I think that shorts are getting squeezed out. Now, I wish I could have just entered SPX there and QQQ there, but unfortunately, I didn't want to chase it, right? I still had a little bit of leftover bearish sentiment, but I didn't want to chase it. And keep in mind, I told you guys, like, I'm not leaving behind that sentiment. I'm still bearish for us to get to that gap, but it seems like it's going to happen later today, is quote what I said in my channel. And right now, my bullish bias is overriding that. But I didn't fill. I didn't chase it until this candle. I did fill SPX calls on this candle. Only half size. I was hoping for one more candle of a pullback so I can alert it. Because this was very aggressive trade. I didn't get the chance to. And I didn't sell a dime until NQ got this pivot. Because that's where it looked like it was going. Was really hoping for a pullback. I didn't get anything today. It went straight down then straight up. And this trade got 111%. Or the QQ trade got 111%. I sold this at 100%. I entered at 2.6, sold at 5.2. So 2 massive trades there. I wish I was heavier size, but it's a very bright green morning. And no consolidation. Very easy analysis. I told you guys, let me see. So pretty much out of high probability analysis now. I got 260 points of NQ correct and confident analysis, and only 33 points of incorrect confidence, which was roughly this. All right. I was right for all of this and this. I was wrong for this, which is pretty damn good. We moved a lot this morning. I mean, we dropped 200 points here and shot up like 250. So it was, or ticks on NQ. So I'm like, okay, I may take one more trade. I'll hang out and see if it happens. Looks like we're trying to bullishly consolidate. 7 o'clock candle hit. It was pretty bullish. And we started coming down. I'm like, okay, I'll be bearish for us to get all the way back down here if most of this movement validates. Otherwise, it looks like we're bullishly consolidating, and I'm kind of bullish for ES to get new high of day. Well, the whole time, I was kind of waiting for it to squeeze to the upside. I mean, we were chopping down, which was pretty bullish, but somehow we just kept working our way down until this happened, right? No, I filled puts at 717 here. It was during bearish consolidation. I didn't really want to, but I'm like, well, I'm kind of triggered in. I said I filled lighter size. It was light size, a little bit less than half size. As I'm unsure if ES bullishly sweeps this low, so saving buying power to add, but starting to lean bearish for NQ, new low of day, if ES doesn't invalidate that the last 3 red candles at least. So these 2 right here. So I fill. And this is kind of what the trade looks like. As you can see, NQ has invalidated more than 50% of the move. Almost 61%. ES is almost invalidated 50%. So my previous bias of ES getting new low of day and getting to the gap is starting to be active. Trade started out pretty good. We were up about 25% here. Didn't sell anything, but ES was chopping down quite a bit, and then we ended up popping to the upside here. And at this point, I said, I become very confident in ES new low day if we can get it below the 61.8. Okay, ES below the 61.8. But until that happens, I'm actually kind of leaning a little bit bullish. The way we're chopping down, I'm bracing for a short squeeze on every single one of these bounces. So my paranoia for a short squeeze kept going up and up and up as we kept bouncing and invalidating the bounce, or each drop was invalidating. Sorry to sneeze. Um, so I started becoming bullish that we were going to go back up, and it was right here that we finally flipped back to being red. And it was right here that I just said, I'm out the rest in trading futures. I sold it at break even. Even though it was up 25%, I sold it at break even. It was starting to chop a lot. I wasn't confident in the trade anymore. I wasn't really super confident in the trade in the first place, enough to kind of test the water with a half size position. No, I'm not at all. And it ended up being a good idea because we did end up going up. Um, my stop loss, I think my average was worse than this. My stop loss was closer, something like that. I don't know. So that was my day. Pretty much the bulk of it was 200% trades, and futures was more unfortunate. You know, I filled. I'm not going to review futures right now. I'm just not really in the mood, and I just woke up. But I filled my shorts roughly here, looking for this ES low of day. Looking for ES low of day. It's kind of risky. Didn't really like it, but it was pretty good. And then I missed my stop loss and went all the way back down. And then it went all the way up and stopped me out, unfortunately. Just to eventually, at the end of the day, do what I knew was likely to happen. But so unfortunate because I told you guys like it's not often that I'm very confident in analysis, and that prediction is very far away. You know, I mean, I was fairly confident he has breaking low of day, almost 30 points away, almost 29 points away ish on ES. And for ES, that's a lot. That's really, really, really far away. I mean, one single mini contract on ES is $50 a point. Okay, so that's $1,500 per mini, right there, which is a lot. It's a very big trade. It's unfortunate that I couldn't take a part of it because it did end up happening later today. But I mean, as far as the options trading, at least I had that. It was freaking beautiful. We did get to the gap. I didn't expect it to fill today, but I said I expect it to test. I expect it to start filling today. And that's exactly what happened. So, very good analysis this morning. Very good options day. And all I can do is just kind of hope that we continue having decent price action in the morning now that FOMC is over, and I can get back to a pretty high win rate. I did take one loss today. That was really small. But I was pretty confident in this break. The way we dumped a ton this morning and then just shot right back up, that's pretty rare on a day with no news. So, but we took advantage of it the best we could, and I feel like we did pretty good. All right, type in chat. Do you guys have any questions regarding any of the analysis from this morning? Pretty easy review. Just basically one really small loss and two massive wins for me. And pretty much everyone in the morning was green. And then, yeah, I got absolutely scammed as far as futures went today, but it's a tough decision not selling that when ES made the lower low. I really wanted to, but just barely at the 1-to-1 risk to award. It barely tapped it, and it's like it's 50-50, you know. And if there's 50-50 decisions to be made where there's no right or wrong decision, you just got to pick one. Sometimes you're just going to pick the wrong one out of luck, but for every wrong run that you're going to pick out of luck, you're going to pick the right one out of luck as well. So it doesn't bother me too much. But all right, sweet. Well, I will see you guys later. We have a member strategy review here later today that we will be doing. So I look forward to that. And then the standard trade review and or not trade review, psych reset and stuff later tonight. So what time? It's always at 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for the member strategy review. We will be reviewing Munchie's strategy today. And he's been working on a lot of strategies. So join up for that if you guys want to be a part of it. All right. I'll see you guys later. I'll let you guys know when this is posted on YouTube.